There is a silent language of love that completely transcends words of language, so subtle and profound that most people spend their entire lives without ever deciphering it. Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human soul, discovered that true love is revealed primarily through unconscious signals, manifestations of the soul that the person doesn't even realize they are transmitting. The most fascinating thing is that these signals are practically impossible to fake because they emerge from the depths of the unconscious, revealing an emotional truth that transcends any social mask. While words can easily deceive, these subtle patterns of behavior are direct windows into the other person's soul. The surprising paradox is that often the person who most demonstrates love for you through these signals doesn't even consciously recognize the depth of their own feelings. What you discover today will forever change your ability to recognize true love when it is silently before you. The unconscious synchronization when souls recognize each other beyond consciousness. When we observe two people in deep loving connection, we witness something that the rational mind can hardly explain. Silent dance of synchronized movements that occurs completely below the threshold of consciousness. This phenomenon, which Jung called emotional synchronicity, reveals one of the most powerful and unmistakable signs of true love. On the surface, we observe how two people who share a genuine loving connection begin to unconsciously reflect each other's body movements, a phenomenon that contemporary neuroscientists call neuronal mirroring. Their breathing rhythms spontaneously align, their facial expressions enter into subtle harmony, their gestures complement each other in a choreography that no one rehearsed. But what is really happening from a Jungian perspective is something much deeper. The two people are experiencing a resonance at the level of the collective unconscious, as Jung wrote in his work Archetypes, and the collective unconscious. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact between two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. This synchronization completely transcends physical attraction or intellectual compatibility. It is a harmonization that happens at the archetypal level, where one person's anima, unconscious feminine principle, recognizes and responds to the other's animus, unconscious masculine principle, regardless of the gender of the individuals involved. The most revealing example of this phenomenon occurs in times of crisis or stress. Observe carefully when you are going through difficult time. The person who truly loves you will demonstrate an impressive emotional synchronization, feeling your pain or anxiety even before you verbalize it. As Maria, a 42-year-old patient, reported, "I was having a terrible day at work, but I hadn't told anyone. When my partner came home, he simply looked at me and said, 'Let's take a quiet walk today.' Exactly what I needed without me having to explain." Unconscious synchronization also manifests in the way the person responds to your nonverbal needs, such as bringing exactly the type of emotional support you need at a specific moment without you needing to articulate the request. It's not coincidence nor luck. It's a deep alignment of two souls that recognize each other beyond words. This phenomenon is so powerful that it even transcends physical presence. You observed cases of emotional synchronicity between people separated by great distances, manifesting through dreams, intuitions, and simultaneous visceral sensations. This is the first and perhaps most fundamental sign of True love a connection that operates in the depths where social masks cannot penetrate, but how can we distinguish this genuine synchronization from simple compatibility or conscious manipulation? The revealing sign is in its spontaneous and natural nature. It happens effortlessly without planning, like water, flowing naturally to find its own level. The persistent positive projection, the mirror of your best version, the second revealing sign of true love, manifests through a fascinating psychological phenomenon that Jung identified as persistent positive projection, the ability of someone to consistently see your highest potential, even when you yourself cannot see it. In conventional Jungian psychology, projections are often understood as transfers of unconscious content, often negative or unresolved, to other people. However, Jung observed a rare and significant pattern. When true love exists, the person consistently projects positive aspects, seeing qualities and potentials that are latent in you, not yet fully manifested. Love is first of all the ability to perceive the invisible in the other, wrote Jung in his personal correspondence. This vision transcends the superficial gaze and sees the seeds of greatness that have not yet fully blossomed in your life. What makes this sign so extraordinary is its persistence through difficulties. While fleeting admiration may occur in the initial stages of any relationship, true love maintains this positive vision. Even when you fail, make mistakes, or show your vulnerabilities, as Joel A., 39-year-old university professor, reported, during my deepest depression, when I couldn't see any value in myself, my partner remained genuinely impressed with aspects of my character that I had completely forgotten I possessed. This phenomenon manifests in subtle ways in everyday life. The person who truly loves you demonstrates unwavering confidence in your abilities. Without denying your limitations, they celebrate your successes with genuine enthusiasm, without envy or competitiveness, and perhaps most revealing, they often see possibilities in you that even you yourself have not yet recognized. In spiritual traditions, this phenomenon is recognized as the ability to see the divine in the other, to see beyond the mundane personality, to connect with the deepest essence. The Sufi mystic Rumi expressed this concept when he wrote, "What you seek is seeking you." The crucial difference between this sign and simple idealization is that persistent positive projection does not ignore your shadows or flaws. On the contrary, it accepts them as an integral part of who you are, without allowing them to obscure the vision of your highest potential. It is a balanced perspective that integrates your humanity with your latent divinity. This type of gaze has a profound, transformative effect when someone can consistently see the best in you, even in moments when you yourself cannot. Something extraordinary happens. You gradually begin to grow to fill that higher image that exists in the eyes of the person who loves you. What would happen if you started to notice who really sees this higher potential in you, even when you are at your most vulnerable? The total presence, the quality of attention that reveals true love in the contemporary world of perpetual distractions and fragmented attention. One of the most revealing and powerful signs of authentic love emerges the quality of presence that someone offers when they are with you. Young, observe this phenomenon with special attention, noting that the quality of consciousness that we direct towards someone is perhaps the purest expression of the value we attribute to their existence. This total presence transcends simply being physically in the same Space, it is a quality of attention where the person becomes entirely available to you on multiple levels simultaneously. Cognitive, emotional, energetic, and spiritual, it is what Zen masters call beginner's mind applied to human encounter, where the person abandons preconceptions and agendas to really see and hear you as if it were the first time. The contrast is revealing. While most social interactions are characterized by people waiting their turn to speak or formulating answers mentally while the other is still speaking, the person who truly loves you demonstrates a quality of listening that is radically different. They are totally present, absorbing not only your words, but also the deeper meanings, the underlying emotions, the eloquent pauses between sentences. Jung observed this phenomenon in his studies on relationships. The meeting of two people is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both will be transformed. This transformation can only occur in the presence of full and uninterrupted attention. The behavioral indicators of this type of presence are subtle but unmistakable, sustained and attentive eye contact without discomfort or invasiveness, genuine facial responsiveness that reflects empathy with your emotions, body posture turned towards you, absence of behaviors that divide attention, such as checking the cell phone, and questions that demonstrate not only that the person heard your words, but that they are genuinely interested in understanding your inner experience. Anna, a 35-year-old writer, describes this phenomenon. I realized I was in love when I noticed how completely seen I felt. During our conversations, it was as if the rest of the world temporarily disappeared and I existed fully in that space of attention we created together. This total presence is exceptionally rare because it requires an ability that few have developed in our society, the ability to temporarily suspend the concerns of the ego to create a sacred space of genuine encounter. As Jung observed, the encounter with another person requires a temporary abandonment of our most deeply rooted certainties. In the Buddhist tradition, this quality is called compassionate presence, a form of attention that does not judge, does not overanalyze, does not seek advantages, but simply is completely available to the shared present moment. The most revealing aspect of this sign is that it persists even in mundane and everyday situations, not only in moments of emotional intensity or intimacy. The person who truly loves you offers this quality of presence both in deep conversations and in seemingly trivial interactions, revealing that for them, each moment shared with you carries intrinsic value. This total presence is not only a sign of love, it is also the fertile ground where true love continues to grow and deepen. As Jung noted, attention is the rarest and purest form of generosity, but this quality of presence raises an intriguing question. How does it relate to the way we deal with inevitable conflicts and differences in any relationship? The integrative conflict, how true love transforms differences. One of the most counterintuitive signs of true love is revealed precisely in moments of conflict and disagreement, not in the absence of these, but in the peculiar way they are navigated. Jung observed this fascinating phenomenon, which he called the dialectic of love, where genuine conflict, when approached consciously, does not weaken the bond but strengthens and deepens it. In surprising ways, conventional wisdom often associates harmonious relationships with the absence of conflict. However, Jung discovered exactly The opposite, the friction between personalities, is what produces the energy necessary for psychic integration. In other words, true love does not avoid differences, it uses them as catalysts for mutual growth. This phenomenon manifests through a distinctive pattern. During moments of disagreement, the person who truly loves you demonstrates a remarkable ability to simultaneously maintain two seemingly contradictory perspectives, defending their own vision with integrity while remaining genuinely open and curious about yours. Observe the body language carefully during conflicts. Someone who truly loves you maintains nonverbal signs of connection even during intense disagreements. Body orientation turned towards you, tone of voice that remains respectful, ability to take reflective pauses, and perhaps most revealing, the willingness to demonstrate vulnerability in the midst of conflict. As Pedro, a couples therapist for 20 years, explained, the most reliable sign I observe in couples with deep connections is not the rarity of their conflicts, but the quality of them. These couples disagree in a way that both feel more understood at the end of the discussion than at the beginning, even if they continue to disagree about the specific issue. Jung identified specific pattern in these interactions, which he called the creative tension of opposites in relationships. With true love, conflicts follow a distinct trajectory. They begin with seemingly opposite positions, go through a phase of genuine exploration of the differences, and culminate not necessarily in agreement but in a deeper understanding of both the other and oneself. This phenomenon aligns with ancient spiritual traditions in Taoist philosophy. It is the dance of yin and yang, seemingly opposite forces that are actually complementary and interdependent. In Zen Buddhism, it is the concept of non-duality, the ability to transcend rigid polarizations to access a more inclusive truth. The most revealing aspect of this sign is that after conflicts navigated in this way, the connection often emerges stronger and deeper than before. As Jung wrote, consciousness is born through the suffering of contradiction. The crucial difference between this type of integrative conflict and common discussions is the underlying intention. The person who truly loves you approaches the conflict not to win or prove that they are right, but moved by genuine desire for mutual understanding. They can disagree with your ideas without diminishing your value as person. Perhaps the most revealing test is to observe what happens immediately after a significant conflict. Someone who truly loves you demonstrates a remarkable ability to return to the emotional connection after the tension without holding grudges or using the past conflict as a weapon in future disagreements. This pattern of integrative conflict creates a fascinating paradox. Relationships with true love often contain more honest disagreements, not less, because there is enough security to express authentic differences without fearing abandonment or retaliation. But this revealing sign leads us to an even deeper question: how does true love manifest in moments when we are most vulnerable? The response to vulnerability, the definitive test of genuine love. There is a specific moment that reveals, more than any other, the presence or absence of true love. It is precisely the instant when you reveal your deepest vulnerability. Jung observed that this response to vulnerability constitutes the ultimate alchemical test of genuine love, because in this critical moment all social masks and pretenses fall revealing the true nature of the connection. Genuine love is not for the faint of heart, wrote Jung. For it requires us to face not only the other's vulnerability, but also our own. This encounter with mutual vulnerability creates a portal to the deepest intimacy that human beings can experience. The way someone responds when you expose your wounds, fears, insecurities, and dark parts that you normally keep hidden instantly reveals the quality and depth of the love. The person who truly loves you demonstrates a specific pattern in these moments. They move towards your vulnerability. They don't move away from it. This movement towards vulnerability manifests through concrete signs. The person maintains compassionate eye contact when you reveal difficult aspects. Their body language remains open and receptive. They demonstrate genuine curiosity about your inner experience without immediately trying to fix or minimize what you are feeling. Louisa, a psychologist specializing in trauma, shares a revealing observation. In relationships with genuine love, there is what I call the sacred response to vulnerability, a quality of presence that communicates without words. I see your pain, and I remain here without judgment, without trying to escape the discomfort it causes me. This phenomenon transcends cultures and eras. In indigenous traditions, it was recognized as the ability to sit with the pain of a loved one without trying to silence it. In Christian spirituality, it manifests as compassion in the original sense of the word, suffering together with the other. In Buddhist practices, it is called compassionate abiding, the ability to be fully present with suffering without resistance. The revealing contrast appears when we compare this authentic response with common but problematic patterns. People incapable of true love often respond to vulnerability with visible discomfort, changing the subject, premature advice, minimizing comparisons. Others have worse problems, or even later using the revealed vulnerabilities as ammunition in conflicts. Jung observed a fascinating paradox. The deeper the revealed vulnerability, the more clearly the true nature of the relationship manifests. As he wrote, "It is in the densest shadows that the quality of light reveals itself most clearly." This sign is so revealing because the response to vulnerability cannot be easily faked or maintained as a social performance. It emerges from the depths of the unconscious, revealing the person's true inner attitude towards you. Roberto, a 45-year-old consultant, reports a transformative experience. I spent years hiding my panic about failing professionally. When I finally revealed this fear to my partner, her response was not to offer immediate solutions, but simply to create space for my vulnerability to exist between us. It was in this moment that I understood the depth of our bond. The deepest dimension of this sign is that after moments of shared vulnerability navigated in this way, the relationship invariably reaches a new level of intimacy and trust. The experience of being truly seen and accepted in your vulnerability creates a relational security that allows for even deeper explorations of the human soul. This response to vulnerability naturally leads us to our last and perhaps most surprising sign of true love, which reveals how genuine love manifests in the most everyday and seemingly mundane moments. The presence in the little things, the final revelation of authentic love. The last and perhaps most subtle sign of true love manifests not in grand, dramatic gestures or eloquent declarations, but precisely in the seemingly mundane terrain of everyday life. Jung observed this phenomenon with special interest, noting that the sacred is most powerfully revealed not in the extraordinary, but in the loving attention dedicated to the seemingly ordinary. This sign manifests through a consistent pattern of small attentions and gestures that reveal a continuous awareness of your existence, preferences, and well-being. The person who truly loves you demonstrates what Jung called attentive presence at the edges of consciousness, a way of keeping you gently present in their thoughts, even when they are focused on other activities. Observe how this presence in the little things manifests in concrete behaviors. The person notices subtle changes in your mood even before you verbalize them, naturally remembers details you casually mentioned in previous conversations, anticipates small needs without you needing to articulate them, adapts small habits to accommodate your preferences. Carlos, a 52-year-old doctor, shares, "I realized my wife really loved me not when she gave me an expensive birthday gift, But when I noticed that for years she always left the last portion of any dessert for me without ever mentioning it or expecting recognition. What makes this sign so revealing is precisely its non-performative quality. These small gestures are not made to impress or gain approval, but emerge naturally from a loving awareness that has become a mental habit. As Jung observed, love is not an occasional spectacle, but a constant presence. This presence in the little things has deep roots in spiritual traditions. In Zen philosophy, it is the concept of mindfulness in everyday life, where the simplest activities are performed with complete presence. In contemplative Christianity, it manifests as the sacrament